Hello and welcome back to NTMAU. This problem can be found on page 214. It is problem number 3. Okay, so when we look at a problem like this, we have to go for what we know. And to go for what we know that we have, let's take a look at the things that we do know. We have this 33 degrees here, and we have this 3 1/4 radius. So this means that that is 3 inches 250 thousandths. We know that we've got a drilled hole here, but in this case, that's not going to really be too relevant to the problem at all as far as solving for it. So let's convert this 3 1/4 to decimals. So we're going to have that as 3 inches 250 thousandths. And we know that 99% of the time, anytime that you have a radius that connects two sides, I should say, that radius is going to be the hypotenuse. And so this is going to be a radius. This radius from this point down to here is going to be most likely the hypotenuse. So let's go ahead and draw that up. Okay, so now we're looking at this here. Here's our 3 inches 250 thousandths from this point to here. And we want to solve for x right here, and we want to solve for y. So we have to develop an angle. Again, what we know is we've got the hypotenuse. 99% of the time, wherever there's a radius, that's going to be the hypotenuse. What is 100% of the time directly across from the hypotenuse? Isn't it the 90 degrees? So directly across from this surface here, there has to be 90 degrees in here somewhere in this problem. So it has to be either in this direction like this, or in this direction going up here like this, where it would be directly across, okay? So let's go ahead and pause the video. I want you to try to draw in your 90 degrees to make it a right angle triangle, and then we can solve for the surfaces from there. So pause the video. So when we draw up the angle, we can either draw it up with this angle here. So we've got a right angle triangle here, coming from here up to here, or we can draw it on this side from here to here. It doesn't really matter. The one thing that you do know is that you've got 33 degrees given from this edge over to this edge. So if you have 33 degrees from here to here, 33 minus 90 is going to give you this amount here, this angle right here. So 90 minus 33 equals 57 degrees. So we've got 57 degrees here, or we have 33 degrees right there, whichever one you want to do. Now, because we said this is the sine, okay, I mean, we didn't say this is the sine yet, but we know this is the hypotenuse, and we know that we have, or we're looking for an opposite side. So we're looking for this side over here, on this side over here, this, which is right here, okay? Now, why do I know that this side here is opposite? Well, because this is where the angle's given. We know that we've got the 57 degrees here, and this surface is opposite that angle, okay? Now, for this one over here, we're also looking for the opposite side, and that would be to solve for x. Now, you can solve it both ways by using the opposite over the hypotenuse equals the sine. So let's replace these with actual numbers. So we know the hypotenuse is the 3 inches, 250 thousandths, okay? And it's going to be the sine of 57 degrees. So on your calculator, all you want to do is hit or plug in 57 and hit sine, And then let's see what we get. We get 0.8386. So what you're going to do is take this side, or you're going to actually take this and move this to this side of the equal sign. So let's get a little bit more space here. Let's see what else we've got going on here. I'm going to put this down here. So I know that if I'm going to take this from this side of the equal sign to this side of the equal sign, I have to do opposite of what this is doing. Now keep in mind, this word opposite has nothing to do with opposite, solving for the opposite or bringing this to the opposite side. When I say I have to bring this to the opposite side, that just means that I have to bring it to this side of the equal sign. Okay, here's our equal sign right here. I need to bring this to here. What is the opposite of division? Because anytime that you have a number above and below like this, that means that it's division, right? So if I'm going to bring it to this side of the equal sign, it's going to be opposite of division. Again, this opposite has nothing to do with opposite of division. This opposite is the opposite side of the angle. I can't stress that enough. Don't get this confused. This could be an adjacent side, and when you're going to bring this to this side of the equal sign, you would still be doing opposite of division. Of course, you wouldn't be using the sign if this was the adjacent side, but that's beside the point. I'm just trying to make a point here. We need to use the opposite of division. Has nothing to do with this being the opposite side, okay? All right, just so everybody's clear on that. So let's write this down and see what we have going from there. And the formula itself would look something like this. The opposite side, now we're using opposite as a side. This is not the opposite of division. Now we're using opposite as the opposite side. You want to solve for this. You want to isolate for this side in order to get this. Simple enough. We just have to use multiplication. So 3 inches, 250 thousandths times 0.8386. What do we get with that? You get 2 inches, 725 and 6/10. So that is what this y surface is. So you're going to put that in right here. 2 inches, 725 and 6/10. Okay? Now we're going to solve for x. Well, you can do x the exact same way. You're going to put the opposite side here again, and we're looking for this, but this time we're looking for the sine of 33 degrees. That's the only thing that's going to change. We know that the angle from here to here is 33 degrees. So we're going to solve for the sine of 33 degrees. So you take the 3 inches, 250 thousandths, and instead of using 57 degrees sine, you're going to use 33 degrees sine. Another way to do this is to take 3 inches, 250 thousandths squared minus the known side squared equals this side. In other words, c squared minus b squared equals a squared. You can use geometry or you can use trig. So let's go ahead and use trig and solve for x. So if we do this, here we have the opposite side over the hypotenuse side equals the sine of 33 degrees. Let's put the little degrees mark there so you don't get confused. And if you break it down and you start to replace it with numbers, we know that we have the opposite side. Why? Because here's the given angle. That's the opposite side. We have the opposite side that we're looking for. Remember, the one on the top is the one you're looking for. The one on the bottom is the one that you have. So we have 3 inches, 250 thousandths. That's what this hypotenuse is. So I've replaced the word hypotenuse with the actual number. Okay, so this becomes this. And I've replaced the sine of 33, the word sine 33, with the actual equation of 33. So to get that, you just plug into your calculator 33 and hit the sine key. You're going to come up with 544 and 6/10. Now, we know that we have division here because we have a number over a number, or an unknown number, which is in this case represented by the opposite side. And we have the hypotenuse. So a number over a number is division. We have to bring this to this side of the equal sign. So to do that, you have to do opposite of division. Again, that has nothing to do with that being the word opposite. That is just what that represents, the side. This represents you're doing the opposite of a math function. Okay, again, if this was an adjacent side or any other form that you would have, if this was a hypotenuse or whatever else that you would have in here, any other function, this formula would still be the same, meaning you do the opposite of division, which is multiplication. So I'm going to go 544 and 6/10 times 3 inches, 250 thousandths. And when I do that, I get 1 inch, 770 thousandths. So for x, x is 1 inch, 770 thousandths. Okay? Now, you can also double check that if you wanted by going 3 inches, 250 thousandths squared minus this side squared, and I bet you're going to come out to be the same. Or you could take 3 inches, 250 thousandths, and take this side, so take this squared minus this side, which you now know, squared, and I bet you come up with the 2 inches, 725 and 6/10. So that'll about do it, and hope you understand it well. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you real soon. Take care.